All right, guys, I got our next guest of the night, or our guest of the night if you're watching on YouTube right now, Garrett Mueller, coming on right now, featherweight, and he's going to be fighting at Shamrock FC 285 against Win. But man, you kind of jump around with your weight class, so where do you think you're going to be sticking with weight?
To be honest, man, I'm sticking with 145 right now, but I honestly see myself jumping up to lightweight here in the future. I'm 28 now, I'm getting older, and I train with such big dudes. And when you're training with big dudes all the time, you're going to be putting on the muscle and the size, and I feel good whenever I'm grappling and sparring and training with bigger guys. So I feel like here, in the future, probably lightweight.
So I actually saw that you train with Adam Meredith, who's actually been on the show before, man. Who else are you training with, getting ready for this fight you got for March 11th?
I've been training with Jake Collier. He's in the UFC. I train with Dakota Bush. He's another really good 155er in St. Louis area, Missouri. Training with a lot of good people. I'm training with my buddy Tony Sink. He's a personal trainer. Dude's just a freak specimen, physically. I mean, this dude can do muscle ups, backflips, human flags, and he's been helping me, get myself, to that next level athletically. So, I've surrounded myself with some great people for this fight.
So you've kind of jumped in and out of Bellator. I mean, were those last minute fill-in calls? Because there is that doorway into Bellator a lot for guys coming up, and you had a great amateur career. You actually beat AJ Sisko when you first came out on your professional career. He's been on the show before too, man. You fought him in Bellator. So, are you kind of just bouncing back and forth, or you aiming to get a foot in the door there and stay, or what's going on?
Actually, yeah, that's my goal. Is I would really like to just get a legit contract with Bellator, be on their actual roster, or get into it was RFA, it's the LFA now, eventually get to the UFC, because the UFC's finally coming to Missouri after all these years. I want to get set and into one of these big shows and really start making the money and really reaping the rewards of professional MMA.
What was it like, because you're a young guy, so what was it like when you did fill in for those Bellator fights? Because those were some pretty big cards, man.
I tell you what, man. I mean, it's a different world, and it's a lot different than fighting on smaller shows, because there's so much that goes into it, and it's I was in my last Bellator fight. I was the first fight of the night, actually, and I was in the locker room with all these people, and they're like, Garrett, you got 15 minutes, and I just got done wrapping my hands, and there was so much going on. It was hard to really process everything. And then next thing I know, I'm walking in the cage, my opponent's getting in there, and it's like, here we go,
Did you get to meet Burt backstage? Was Burt Watson backstage that night?
I do not know. I don't think so.
Because I know he's always connecting with the fighters there. They always love him. It was so sad to see when him and Stitch, kind of left the UFC. But you know what? Right now, man, I mean, usually people would say Bellator is where I want to be. But we're seeing fighters in the UFC. I mean, people usually say that UFC is where you want to be. But Bellator has really been putting on some great cards and signing some huge names, especially coming over from the UFC.
Right.
So,
I mean, what's up?
So does it make a difference to you, whether it's UFC or Bellator? Because you're hearing a lot more that guys don't mind if they go to Bellator because they're doing some pretty big things.
Really, it doesn't really matter to me. My biggest goal really is I want to fight abroad. I want to go use my MMA career and go fight in different countries, use it to travel, network myself out. I just don't want to fight in Missouri. I want to,
Yeah.
I want to go to Italy to fight. I want to go fight in Japan. I'd like to fight on ONE FC in Singapore. I want to travel with it. But, if I got to the UFC, that'd be awesome. That's one of my goals is to get to the biggest promotion in the world, and then maybe, I win a fight there, and, then we'll concentrate on being the best in the world, It's just one of them, I'm taking it step by step.
So where have you fought so far, in your pro or amateur career, if you traveled in your amateur career at all? Where have you fought so far?
Actually, the farthest I've been is St. Louis or Kansas City, man. I haven't really left Missouri yet.
So even if you got a call to come to New York, you'd be pretty pumped.
Oh yeah, if I got a call to come to New York to fight, if I got a call to go to Canada, oh hell yeah, man, I'd be all for it.
I've never even been to Canada. I mean, I've been here and there in the United States, but I totally know what you mean, especially as a fighter. I mean, life's so short, and your career as a fighter, you never know when it's going to be your last fight. So of course, like you have a perfect reason to be traveling overseas, and we're seeing a lot of UFC events, open up across seas, but there's kind of a lot of drama going on right now with all of that. So that kind of takes it a little bit. But you know what? New York's been putting on so many amazing cards, man. But let's start talking about your upcoming fight. I mean, Shamrock FC's been putting on just a shit ton of amazing competitors and young prospects coming up. We've had a whole bunch of dudes come on.
Oh yeah, I mean, like they've done a great job in promoting me, and their cards are always fun and professional, and just the atmosphere for those smaller, like for the smaller style show is just the level of professionalism that they put into their show is just amazing. You don't get that anywhere else.
And you just fought not too long ago. You just had a win via first round submission over your last opponent, and that was at lightweight. So now you're going to be coming in as a featherweight. What changes have you been making to prepare for this fight? Like, are you working with a diet coach or anything like that?
I've really been listening to my personal trainer, and just like he's really just told me just make it a lifestyle. Eat healthy all the time. And that's really what I've been doing, and like not just eating clean, filling my body with clean food, not going out and eating junk food. Because back in the day, I used to I'd eat grilled chicken and broccoli, and then after my fight, I'd be going to those all you can eat Chinese buffets and getting pizza, just going back to being a happy fat American. But I've been just really just making it a lifestyle choice to just be healthy all the time and just maintain like my peak physical condition just all the time. That way, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, what time of year it is. I could go out and run 5 miles if I wanted to. I could go, drop and do 300 push-ups, and not get tired. I want to be an athlete all the time. And it's like, that is really, just as far as like, I've seen my body change, like physically change over these last several months that I've been, just really sticking to this regimen, and it's, it's great. It's doing great things for me.
Well, that's another thing. Like, you got to always stay ready in case you do get a call saying, hey man, you want to come up to the UFC, you want to come to Bellator, this guy's opponent just dropped out for some reason, and you got to be ready. I mean, whether you're staying loose, whether you're doing triathlons or whatever you got to do, it's never a good thing to be stuck on your couch,
Right.
So another thing here, man, and I hope I'm getting this right, you were actually in the Army at one point?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for your services, man. So I got to ask you now, you're a fighter, so is it kind of more of a chilled, relaxed kind of a fight because you've already kind of, been through some stressful things, or no, you still kind of get the jitters?
I've actually started to notice like the jitters going away. I don't get them near as much, and that has a lot to do with my trainer that I have now. He really I think before I would always get so wrapped up in the spectacle that's MMA, and as soon as I get out there, I get too excited or too pumped up. But I noticed my last fight, I just felt so focused. Like, I felt so calm, so focused. I walked to the cage. I got in there. It didn't matter. It like the people, the announcers, the noise. None of that mattered. I concentrated on the task at hand, and that was to beat my opponent. And I felt so comfortable in there.
I told him. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right.
I told my listeners a lot, man. It's like sometimes fighters, when they walk out, they smell the beer and the popcorn. It changes things sometimes.
Oh yes, for sure. especially in Bellator. I mean, like that, like the lights and the sound. I mean, I remember like my first Bellator fight against AJ Sisko. I was the last fight of the night, and it was still, that was right after Ken Shamrock and Okimbo went at it. And like I went out there and the whole stadium was, still packed full. And I remember just looking around and just hearing the crowd. And that was a lot to take in. That was a lot to handle, but I got the job done. So
my listeners are probably gonna freak out if I don't ask you this, man. I mean, did you get to meet Kimbo? Did you get to meet Dada, Hoist, or Shamrock or anybody that night backstage?
Oh yeah, I got to. I met. I actually sat down and talked to Michael Chandler for a while.
Nice.
He's a great guy. I got to meet Ken Shamrock. he's a character. And actually, my last at Bellator Dynamite when Rampage Jackson fought Ishii.
Yep.
George St. Pierre was there. And I actually sat down and talked. That was kind of funny because I seen him walk past me, and like my buddy was sitting next to me, and I was like, oh my God, I got to get up and talk to him. And he's like, well, go talk to him. I was like, man, I don't want to be that guy, I don't want to, like, I felt like a little kid at Christmas,
What did that conversation go like, man?
Oh, it was just, I asked him, I was like, when can I come train with you, George? And he's like, come on up anytime, like it was just, he's just such a chill, relaxed, mellow dude,
So as we get towards the end of this interview, man, I'm going to end on a GSP note since we kind of reached that point. Of course, he's going to be making his return back. You kind of sound like you know of his career. A lot of our fans, some of them are new to the sport. Some of them know GSP very well. Who do you want to see him come up against and making his return?
Oh, man, I really want to see the Nick Diaz rematch. I think that would be awesome. To be honest, I think George would go out there and, win a unanimous decision pretty easy. But you never know. Nick's been on a layoff, and if he comes in there and fights like the old Strikeforce Nick, GSP, he's got a lot of miles on him. He's older. You never know what's going to happen. So I would really like to see that matchup.
I want to thank you so much coming on Pure EVil MMA. My last question to you has to do with your fight, man. What can everybody expect when they tune in March 11th for Shamrock FC 285 to see you going up against Win?
Oh, man, it's going to be a fight. This kid, he's young, he's gritty. He's a tough kid, but like I said, he's a kid. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm at that level in my career, and he doesn't have anything that I have not seen before. I honestly think that my experience is going to show. I'm the more aggressive striker. I am way better at jiu-jitsu than this kid. On my wrestling, I'm pretty sure I have the edge on the wrestling. So it's going to be a scrap. It's going to be a damn good fight. It's a damn good match.
Well, we can't wait to tune in March 11th for Shamrock FC 285. What we like to do at this point in the interview, I hand the imaginary microphone over to you. If you have any sponsors, shout outs, and your social media tags, the floor is all yours now, Garrett.
All right, man. I'd like to thank all my buddies at the Freestyle Factory at Spin Pit MMA. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Mueller MMA 89 and on Facebook at Garrett Mueller.
Thanks so much, man. Have a great night and best of skill come March 11th. We'll all be tuning in.
All right. Thanks, brother.